Hey, on the go family. How you doing today? We bring to you a giving series with Mr. Prince Ralph, and we hope that you grab a pen and a paper and you take some notes and that you be blessed by it. All right? Enjoy.
Enjoy.
Hi, everyone. You're watching On the Go TV with
Betty
and Karen. And today we're very excited and happy to be back on your screens.
So we have a wonderful guest today in our studio.
Yes.
He is a wonderful man. He is a philanthropy officer at the University Foundation in Alberta here. And he's been doing this for about 9 years now. He's been moving around in the world, started off in Canada, went to the Netherlands, the Emirates, and then back to Canada, Vancouver, and right now he's in Edmonton. So we're happy to have you here, Prince.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very delighted to be with you today.
Awesome. So what are you going to tell us about yourself today?
As you mentioned, my name is Prince. I work at the University Hospital Foundation right here in Edmonton as a philanthropy officer, basically as a fundraiser. So I am in the business of asking people for money. I would call it, I give people the opportunity to be a blessing and to make an impact in their generation.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about giving.
Yeah. So pretty much since that's sort of your field.
Yeah, so Prince, what is giving?
So giving is the opportunity for an individual to see where there is lack and to be able to meet that need. And so in my line of work, we call it the 3 T's, the talent, the time, and the treasure. Talent is your ability to do something. So I may not have money to give you for food, but I can come in and volunteer and help clean the dishes and help clean your house. My time, also by coming into your area to support it, I'm giving my time, which is very, very valuable. And then there is a treasure. The treasure is my resources. And so I may give you a $10,000 check to support what you're doing to feed the homeless or to feed for the women's shelter, or I may give you a bunch of clothes, or I could bring you towels and what have you, resources to help support the organizational needs of any charitable organization. Yeah. So
so that's the field in which you operate.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Wow.
What took you there? How did you end up in this fundraising field?
So there is now actually in the state and some parts of Canada an opportunity to study to become a fundraiser. But I happened to walk into this industry by accident, and I have loved every minute of it. The opportunity to take people's hard-earned resources and give it to other people that will go out into the world and make an impact is incredible. Yeah.
Awesome.
So what impact has that made on you? Because you're talking about it being something that you do as your line of work, but how do you take that passion and also how does it affect your everyday life?
For me, it is a very humbling experience because our understanding is that if I work hard for my money, it is for me. And so I use it for whatever I want. But to see individuals work hard for their money, spend their lifetime earning these resources and walk into an office and say, hey, Prince, I want you to take this $100,000. I want you to take this $200 and I want you to give it to the hospital to buy an equipment or to feed the homeless. It's very humbling. And I've walked into situations where people are in their hospital beds with tubes all over them and they're giving you a check and to say, take it, give it to the doctor and help support his work. And for me, if this is not God's work, I don't know what it is.
That's right.
It brings back that lesson that all that we have in this world, all that we work hard to get, in the twinkle of an eye, it could all be gone. Yeah.
Wow, so then that should take a lot of convincing, right? Because you're saying that in the situation where it's money, it's people's hard work that they've generated all this income. So if you're going to ask someone to give, or do you even have to ask, or people just do it willingly?
So it is when the individual is ready to make that gift, it's an easier conversation.
Okay.
What we in the industry like to say is that we we work with them along that journey. So they come into the hospital, they see a doctor, or they come in and receive a care, and then they want to give back. I believe that when individuals come close to death, everything else in life loses its value. Yeah. And so they go back home and they realize that I could have $1 million sitting in the bank. If I'm gone, that money is worth nothing to me.
That's right.
And so they go through that journey of where they realize that life is more valued than anything else. And so then they pick up the phone and call us, and we are always excited to sit down with them, say, what could we do? We could take that 50,000, we could take that 5,000, and what could we do with it? Yeah. And how we love to engage with these folks is that after the money has been given to us, we love to come back to them and say that you gave us this amount of money, look at what we've done with it. And that is always an exciting conversation to have.
Right. So what is the biggest donation that you've ever received?
So the biggest gift conversation I've sat around the table to have is a $2 million conversation. That is going to be a gift. That was going to be a gift that the gentleman was going to leave in his will for the foundation. And this was back in Vancouver. And he went on to give us $100,000 cash gift, which is called a now gift, to help support the work that we were doing.
Wonderful. Wow. Do you, the employees, get a percentage?
No, in fundraising, we have these ethics around that. So you have your, when you get employed, there is agreed salary you're going to be getting, and that is what we stick to. Some organizations do have bonus structures, depending on how the organization does, the bonus will kick in. But it's unethical to hire somebody and have a commission structure.
Okay.
So this is your work, and we understand that, in cases where you can say that if people have like this lump sum of money, it's easier for them to make these donations. So how do we bring it home to the ordinary person, who is probably like they get it, they can sit there and say, this person's got $1 million, so 100,000 is probably nothing, right? So how does this come back to, just an everyday person who wants to exercise that habit of giving, but they sort of don't really know where to start because they don't see, what's my $1 or my $5 going to do?
So before I answer that question, I want to bring some statistics into the picture.
Okay.
So last year alone, there were $450 billion that was given to charities in the United States. In Canada, that came up to about $14 billion.
Wow.
Every year that individuals give to support religion, to support health, to support education and social services. And so you want to ask yourself, why do people take this amount of money and give? And the first answer is that giving makes us happy.
Okay.
The giver, you that is giving money, you taking that money, that $5,000 or that $200 and giving to somebody, it makes you happy. And then there is also, it's good for our health. The one giving, there is this reduction of stress in the individual. That happens when somebody gives. And then giving also helps us with social connections. When I give to support your work, you become my friend. When I meet you, you appreciate. And giving evokes gratitude. Gratitude in not only you, the receiver, but me as a giver. Because when I'm giving, I realize that I've been fortunate enough, I've been blessed with these resources, and I want to bless you too. And then one thing we also know, and it's been studied across the world, that giving is contagious. When people are giving, other people want to come around givers.
That's right.
So you begin to have these friends of givers, and you create this aura, this dynamic that happens. And so you as an individual, you want to participate. You might have $50 to give. You want to have these sort of benefits. There was a study that was done in 2003 in these elderly couples, and where they found out that the elderly couples that gave or that supported emotionally or practical help to their neighbors, within a 5-year span, these people were still alive. And the ones that did not do anything, they were gone.
Wow.
Oh, people would love to hear this.
Yeah.
So what about people that are like, I want to give, but it's not big enough. I'm on a tight budget. it can be my time. I don't have that much of a spare time. So I don't think it's enough. So I'm not going to go for it. I don't think this little amount is enough. So I'm not going to do it. I'm waiting for the time that I have abundance so that I can impact lives. What do you say to those? So
there is never the opportune time to give. Okay. There is never going to be the right moment where everything is aligned, the money is there, the individual is there. No. We are called even beyond our faith as Christians. Mm-hmm. We are called to wherever we see a need to help meet that need. And so one of the things that we think that when I'm giving something to you is actually helping you. Mm-hmm. No. When I'm helping you, I'm actually helping myself. Mm-hmm. The benefits of giving is so much more for the recipient than even the receiver. And we read in the Bible, I think it's in Matthew chapter 25, verse 34 downwards, where Jesus had sat in his kingdom and everybody was coming to him, and he said, he was rewarding people. He said, when I was in prison, did you visit me? Yeah. When I was sick, did you when I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was homeless, did you clothe me? Yeah. And he said, because you did not do for the least of these.
You didn't do it for me. Yeah.
And so there's opportunities to give everywhere. Sometimes, even when you're feeling your thank, you see somebody that you could help. It's like, oh, sir, let me pay for your gas. Mm-hmm. Or you walk into the homeless shelter, bring in a bunch of clothing and blankets. And these are all opportunities for you as a individual to seize those opportunities and tap into your blessings.
That's a great point. And I love that we've finally linked it to being a Christian, you know, because with the whole aspect of giving, I think sometimes many of us, we can say, oh, well, I give tithes at church, I give offerings at church, so that's good enough, which I think we can agree that it's a level of giving, right? But I love that we're talking about seizing opportunities, because it can't just be within the walls of the church. You know, sometimes you never know what your neighbor's going through. Sometimes you never know what you said at the gas station. You never know what people are going through. And you don't have to know, right? But it's about seizing opportunities to be a blessing to someone. That's so great.
How I understood it is, that means we are not just giving to Christians. Yeah, because if you're helping somebody at the gas station, if you're opening a door for somebody, you don't know their faith, right? Of course. So you're just caring for somebody, showing love and all that. So a lot of Christians think that if you don't give to a Christian, you don't earn the benefits. So thank you for explaining that. Yeah, go ahead.
You're very welcome. The funny thing about giving with God is a principle. And it doesn't take whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a believer or not. Because we see the wealth that is out there in the world. We could sit down here and count their fault or their unrighteousness, but God keeps blessing them. Why so? That principle is there irrespective of where you're coming from. When you give, God gives back to you. Whatever you touch. There is a story in the Bible of Isaac in Genesis chapter 26. And the Bible says, in the year that there was famine in the land, Isaac planted. And when he planted, he reaped a double fold, 100 his crops, his manservants, his sheep, his cattle. And so the planting, what it tells me as an individual reading that is that he gave to support the people that were around. Because there was famine in the land. And so they might have come to him, Isaac. And
he's the only one.
And he gave. And so sometimes we call something the paradox of generosity. We think that by holding, we keep more. No, it is by letting it
releasing,
then we receive more. And so when believers come to that realization, we tap into these supernatural blessings that is going to impact our lives, our children's life, our grandchildren's, and our great-great-grandchildren.
Awesome. Wow. Awesome. So, Prince, are you a giver?
I am. So I have been giving. I give at work. I give to support the work of God, and wherever there's opportunity to give, when I realize that need, I try to give. I'm interestingly enough, at the beginning of this year, there was a young man in our church that it dawned on my heart to be a blessing to, and I went in and I made this this agreement with God that as long as he's in school, I'm going to supply his groceries every month. It's not like I entered this year with about $90,000 in debt.
Wow.
And when I called my bank to try to consolidate things, they wouldn't even agree.
Right.
And so I made this commitment in early February. That same month, I get this letter from Vancouver where I had stopped working about 3 years ago. They said, we miscalculated your pension, so here is a $700 check.
Wow.
And we enter into March, COVID hits.
Yeah.
But then things were going so good at work. I entered into the summer, my resources were not even enough, but I was able to do about $2,000 renovation in my apartment.
Amen.
To break the bank. And I've seen God come through in so powerful ways. My tax returns, there is money coming here from there. And it demonstrates that when we give, God goes on to show himself strong.
Yeah, windows of blessing.
Yeah, perhaps not even our lifetime, but our great-grandchildren are come in and benefit some of the sowing that we did.
Yeah. Wow, I love that you just brought that up, because I think for someone, they could decide that, I want to give. And you said that you decided that early in the year, and then COVID hit, right? People might decide to give, and then there's a challenge that comes to threaten that. So how does someone still continue to give in the midst of, being pressed? Maybe right now their income is not meeting up. Maybe they don't have the time that they would have had to offer help or assistance to someone. How do you still continue to give in the face of challenges? Yeah.
So I had mentioned earlier, there is never that best opportunity to give.
Right. Yeah.
I want to take us to 1 Kings chapter 17, the verse 7 downwards. The prophet Elijah, there was famine in the land, went to meet this woman who was gathering wood to go make some food for her and her son. And then Elijah had been told by God to go into that town, for God would provide for him. And he went in, he asked the lady, can you get me some water? So as the lady turned to go to get him some water, he said, can you take some flour and bake me some bread?
Yeah.
And the lady was like, mister, I just have a small jar of flour to make some food for me and my son. We will die, we will eat, and then we will wait for our death.
Yeah.
And Elijah looked at her and told her, as long as the Lord lives, go make me that bread, for you will never run out of flour or oil until the famine is over. And so sometimes it is at a point where we have nothing, that when we give, it triggers this massive blessing and unlocks God's resources.
A step of faith,
So whenever you feel the urge to give, then that means your blessing is waiting for you. So you just make the move, and then the door will open for you. That's wonderful.
Should we only wait for the urge to give, though?
When we see a need.
When you see a need, okay. All right. Well, I have this question that I want to ask you, Brother Prince, because I think in our day and time and in the world that we live in, with the whole social media and giving, many of us want to be seen when we give. With your line of work, I'm sure when these people give you all these checks, there's no camera that's snapping or taking a moment there. I'm not sure. But what's your take? Because are you the type of person that you give and you want everyone to be aware of what you're doing? Because there's scripture in Matthew 6, the verse 2 and 3, where the Bible says that, we ought not to give where we are announcing for the world to know, or don't give. It says, don't let your left hand see what the right hand is doing. What's your take on that? Where people give and they want everybody around them to know that, hey, look at me taking care of this brother or sister. Look at me stepping up and doing this.
In every instance where we have the opportunity to give, the rationale behind it should be, I'm helping others to rise higher. I'm helping to solve other people's problems. I'm helping other people. And whether we do it publicly, if the instances present those opportunities, or we do it privately, the focus should be on us helping other people. And I do believe that because giving is contagious, sometimes some giving have to be done publicly so that other people would be motivated to give.
That's right.
And where we have opportunities to also do it privately, I think that does not stop us from doing that. Yeah. We have a lot of our donors that prefer to remain anonymous. And so when you go to our donor wall, which is a place where everybody walks through as they come into the hospital, you would have their names anonymous. Yeah. And that is their personal preference. And some of them too, we love to be able to say thank you. And so by knowing who you are, it gives us the opportunity to say thank you. And that gratitude goes a long way. But one of the things I wanted us to also know is that as believers, our miracles are tied in sometimes by helping others. And so sometimes it's just by calling a sister or a brother. How are you doing? I could come take care of the kids or babysit the kids for you so that you can have that hour of you time. Or I can make dinner and bring it to you, those kind of opportunities. When you do that, it unlocks God's miracles, and some of the things that we've been praying about becomes easier to happen.
Well, thank you so much, Prince. We really appreciate it. I think our viewers and ourselves as well are taking something very vital home, where we know that, you don't look for the right opportunities to be a blessing to someone or to your community, but it's just about seizing the opportunity. Sometimes, like you said, it could just be, calling someone on the phone. It's not just in money. It could be anything that you could be of a blessing to someone. So any last words that you want to share with the On The Go family?
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for having me. If you forget anything at all that we've said today, I need you to remember that in giving, we receive. In grasping, we lose. And so
in giving, we receive.
In grasping, we lose. Wow.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
God loves a cheerful giver. Everyone.
Yes. All right, On The Go family. So as you can see, due to COVID, we're doing Zoom meetings now. I mean, we're not gonna wait till everything died down before we do what we're supposed to do. So we hope that will be a blessing to you. And we thank you so much, Prince. God bless you. All right. Well, there you have it. This is On The Go family, bringing you another amazing segment on giving. Were you blessed, Betty?
I was. Because I know I can take opportunity of every season, and I can do a little, and it's going to go a long way. Absolutely. I'm not going to wait for a set time or until my hands are full in order to bless somebody. It's very great information.
Yeah, well, once again, thank you so much for watching us, and we hope to see you again. God bless you.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.